1996, the International Race of Champions Series visits the world's fastest stock car facility, Talladega Superspeedway. And for the first time since August of 1986, an IROC race is being televised live. And ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, is proud to provide the coverage.
12 of the world's greatest race drivers are buckled up and ready to do battle. For 38 laps, inches apart at speeds approaching 180 miles per hour today at Talladega. For over 2 decades, this series has attempted to crown a single champion from among the many championship caliber drivers representing the world's motorsports elite.
What would happen if you took the 12 finest race drivers in the world?
12 of the greatest racing drivers in the world are brought together.
The premise, of course, is to determine who would be the world's greatest race driver.
He's spinning down the front stretch, back stretch, to bring it to top 9.
Well, it's finally been done in an international race of champions.
The much-anticipated Earnhardt father and son matchup in Daytona didn't materialize, but what did develop was an impressive performance by a couple of open-wheel stars who are both IROC rookies. Reigning Pep Boys Indy Racing League champion Kenny Breck moved from his 7th starting spot to battle at the front all day. And current CART FedEx Championship Series point leader Greg Moore masterfully moved from his 10th starting spot to log a top 5 finish. Neither had ever driven a stock car in competition on a super speedway prior to that day.
Ladies and gentlemen, trackside, the Grand Marshal for today's race, Mr. Tom Denault, a True Value store owner from California, is set to give the command to get today's round 2 of the 1999 True Value IROC Series underway.
On behalf of True Value hardware dealers nationwide, gentlemen, start your engines.
So the engines are fired and we are just about ready for racing. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to round 2 of this IROC series for 1999. Round number 1 in February at Daytona was touted to be the first battle on American soil of Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr., but it did not happen. As the drivers were completing lap number 8, there was trouble. 4 drivers, Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, Jeff Burton, and Eddie Cheever, were eliminated from the competition. All drivers were okay. Meanwhile, the elder Earnhardt pulled off a last lap, last turn pass of Mark Martin, and Earnhardt recorded his 8th IROC victory, tying him for 2nd on the all-time win list with Mark Martin. They start in reverse order of where they finished in Daytona. Benny Parsons and Darrell Waltrip with me here in the booth. Benny, is that going to be a problem for Earnhardt?
At some racetracks, it might be a problem, but I don't think at Talladega it's going to be a problem. This racetrack, if Earnhardt could get the right brakes, he could actually lead the first lap at Talladega. But, Darrell, the drivers will have some kind of problems.
Well, have you ever gotten in an automobile, your car, and maybe your wife or your friend have been driving it, and the seat's not exactly where you want, you got to adjust around, steering wheel's not exactly where you want, you got to adjust around, brake, you know, everything's out of whack. Well, that's what a lot of these drivers are having to deal with. They're in cars they've never sat in. Yeah, they got to set them in the garage area, but they've never been out on the racetrack. You know, creature comforts. You know how drivers are. They're a little picky. They like to whine, and, well, I wasn't exactly comfortable in the seat. That's what some of these guys are dealing with today.
Well, the track is 2.6 miles in length. The banks are at 33 degrees, and 12 of the best drivers in the world are set to challenge them. The fastest IROC race in history was run here in 1992 with Alabama's own Davey Allison as the winner. ESPN Speed World is live at Talladega Superspeedway, and we're ready for round 2 of IROC 23. Now, let's take a look at the lineup and where the 12 drivers will be starting. On the front row, representing the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, Jeff Burton from South Boston, Virginia in the cream-colored car, and from the Pep Boys Indy Racing League in lime green, 1998 Indy 500 winner Eddie Cheever. Already this year, Burton has won twice at Las Vegas and Darlington, and Cheever took the Pep Boys IRL opener at Walt Disney World Speedway. Row 2 in red, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the defending NASCAR Busch Series Grand National Division champion, and from Winston Cup, Rusty Wallace in gold. He was the IROC champ in '91. Rusty has also won in Winston Cup this year, driving from the pole to victory lane at Bristol, Tennessee. In the third row, Dale Jarrett representing NASCAR Winston Cup in his 4th IROC Series. He'll drive the yellow car. And from the Kart FedEx Championship Series in violet, Adrian Fernandez. Fernandez won in the Championship Series at Motegi, Japan earlier this year for the 2nd year in a row. In row 4, 3-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon. He'll be in dark blue. And Greg Moore from the Kart FedEx Championship Series driving the rose-colored IROC car. Gordon took the checkered first this year at Daytona and Atlanta. And Moore is atop his series points after a win in the series opener at Homestead. Starting 9th in purple is the defending champion of the Pep Boys Indy Racing League, Kenny Breck, and alongside is Winston Cup's Mark Martin in powder blue, a 4-time and defending IROC champ. Mark has also recorded a win in Winston Cup in 1999 at North Carolina Speedway in Rockingham. And in the last row today, 2 Winston Cup competitors, Bobby Labonte in medium blue, an IROC rookie, and Dale Earnhardt in orange, a 2-time IROC champion. He starts 12th today by virtue of his win in February at the IROC 23 opener at Daytona, his 8th in the series. Complementing our coverage here today, 6 onboard cameras.
That's Dale Earnhardt starting back at 12th spot, the Diecast Digest magazine. Bobby Labonte, the Circuit City onboard camera. Mark Martin is carrying an onboard camera, the Aniston Chemical Project onboard camera. Greg Moore has an onboard camera in the rose-colored car. Jeff Gordon has the DuPont Automotive Finishes onboard camera. Rusty Wallace carrying another Circuit City onboard camera in row 2. As the cars cross the start-finish line, the signal is given. One more lap.
One more lap to go, and IROC 23 race number 2 will be on.
Yeah, it will, and everybody's riding around there right now thinking, I hope I have an unequal car. What they mean is, I hope mine's better than everybody else's, because there is a little difference in them, isn't there, Benny?
There's a little bit of difference. Dick Trickle and those guys that test the cars talked about trying to get the cars within 1/10 of a second. And in practice and whatever, they probably got them within 1/10. But when the race starts, all of a sudden, some of those cars, 1/10 will become 3/10.
Yeah, well, it just depends on the balance of the car. It's so critical these days, especially at 180 miles an hour. The aerodynamic balance, what's going to happen when they burn off that 30-gallon of fuel they got, tire wear, so many things that are really dictated by the weather and the track and how you drive the car.
38 laps of competition here this afternoon. That's a little over 100 miles. The total series purse is $760,000, of course, paid out at the end of the series. And the race record, as I indicated earlier, Davey Allison, the fastest IROC race in history back in 1992. Jerry?
Talking to some of the open wheel guys, Kenny Breck and Greg Moore, Eddie Cheever. What happens today in this race is totally against what they do every single time they're in their open wheel cars. They're looking for clean air, fresh air. They hunt for air to come over their wings in the corner to get maximum downforce and ground effects. But here at Talladega, with a roof over their head and fenders on the cars, a stock car, you have to keep that car tucked in the vacuum called the draft. It's tough to learn. They've been here 3 days trying to learn the draft, trying to unlearn what they've done most of their lives in open wheel competition.
And when you combine that with the factor that Darrell talked about earlier, the fact that you're just not comfortable in that car presents a real challenge to these guys.
I know the last year I drove a couple years ago, I had a really tough time getting the seat down low enough. I'm a tall guy. I think the cars complement smaller drivers because they got a little more room to work with. But guys like Earnhardt and some of the others, Greg Moore, they're probably a little cramped up. Dale Jarrett, they're cramped up in that car.
Well, here we go. The field now being led down to the green flag by Jeff Burton on the pole and Eddie Cheever on the outside. It's the first time that we're presenting an IROC race live since 1986. The green flag is out, and here we go. Rusty Wallace drops from his outside starting position down to the inside of the track. Eddie Cheever Jr., who started outside row number 1 in the lime green, may get hung out to dry here. That's a term that you're going to hear a lot tomorrow when we televise the Cup race. But, boy, you got to stay in that draft.
And all those NASCAR Winter Cup drivers have lined up, teamed up, and gone by Cheever. I think the first 5 or 6 right now will be NASCAR Winter Cup drivers.
Yeah, well, they know where to go. That's the big thing. They know exactly where to go. And, of course, the other guys are just wondering where to go.
On board with Dale Earnhardt, and he is picking up positions. Already passed 3 cars in the opening lap. First lap is completed at 161.2 miles an hour, but that speed will increase. It takes the cars a while to get up to full speed. We're on board with Greg Moore now.
Now, these 2 guys are running side by side. They really desperately need to get nose to tail.
Oh, they're in trouble. They're in trouble already because that will not work. They're going to lose a lot of time, and the front pack will run off and leave.
Jeff Burton is the leader as they come down the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in second position.
That was Dale Jarrett in the yellow car that made the move. Right behind him is Jeff Gordon. They're now moved up to 3rd and 4th.
And Rusty Wallace has lost some positions. He's in the gold car. He's already back to 6th position. Now they come down through the tri-oval once again, and Jeff Burton continues to lead. The yellow car on the outside is Jarrett.
Along with Jeff Gordon trying to go to the front. They go on the outside now. They're 3 abreast down in turn 1.
3 wide, and now begin to get in 2 abreast formation as Jarrett slides down to the inside. And look how close he is to the back of Jeff Burton.
And look at the run. He gets off the corner to go 3 abreast off 2.
Well, that's what you want to feel in your cars when you can drop down under somebody like that. And then look in the mirror, and here's the red car right behind him, pushing him right along.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the light blue car of Mark Martin.
You know, somehow or another, I think Mark will be up in front before you know it. What do you think?
It seems to work that way. We're right along with Mark Martin.
They're 3 wide through the 3rd quarter. Jeff Gordon way up on high. They're up on top, and they're still 3 wide coming down the tri-oval. That is Jeff Gordon in the dark blue car, running back there at about 7th spot. And notice these last 2 back there, Greg Moore and Eddie Cheever, they're essentially out of the draft already, and it's only going to get worse for them.
Yeah, if they're 3 wide up there like they are right now, they may catch back up. They got a chance here if they stay together.
Oh, a move by Mark Martin coming off the corner. He slides to the inside of Dale Jarrett, and Martin, you're right, is looking for the lead.
He's really got a knack for these cars. He just seems to fit them perfectly, and he always finds one that runs better than everybody else's.
And look who is running number 3. Now make that second as he goes to the inside of Jarrett. Dale Earnhardt from last starting position is right behind Mark Martin, the leader.
This could be a better series for Dale Earnhardt. I mean, he's got guys out here that really he takes them to school every time he's in one of these cars.
It's something about aerodynamics and Dale Earnhardt just seemed to get so well. And that time, Jeff Burton trying to make it past that cream car on the inside was on the apron of the racetrack as he shoulders his way by Rusty Wallace in the gold car.
They're 2 by 2 for 4th on back. Rusty Wallace were on board now. He tries to go between Burton in that 12 car just up ahead.
Was he nudging him a little bit there? It looked like giving him a little bump draft down that back straightaway. That's a term that scares me. I don't know, something about bump drafting that don't sound good to me.
And look at Burton just dive to the outside trying to get a run. Now Rusty Wallace is trying to follow.
And let's give a call to Kenny Breck, who's in that purple car and running right up there with the leaders.
Yeah, we're going to give him a call, all right. When he gets 3 wide like that, he's going to wonder what in the world is happening. 4 wide
exactly
right there.
What's going on right now? Yep, 4 wide down through the tri-oval.
The guy that drives pretty good in these cars is Greg Moore. He does a nice job in these cars in that, what do you call that, rose-colored car?
Yeah, and those 2 have caught up, so they are not out of the draft. And they already have 12 cars still in the lead pack. Dale Earnhardt.
Can't get much closer than that, folks.
Mark Martin is the leader, and look how close Earnhardt is in second spot. Through the 33 degrees of banking, the last lap run at 183 miles an hour. And the fastest lap, that last lap, was by the number 5 car driven by Jeff Gordon. We'll be right back.
ESPN Classics 3 Days of 3 is presented by Martin Scorsese's The Aviator, in theaters everywhere this Christmas. saw the future.
Let's build a plane that flies above the weather, across the country, across the world.
If you do that, you could lose everything.
Well, I won't.
He lived the dream.
You like a little adventure? Who y'all was, Mr. Hughes?
I have heard some disquieting rumors about Mr. Hughes. I'd like to know everything there is to know.
My investigators have turned up a lot of dirt.
We are in a street fight, and I'm not going to lose. He owns Pan Am, he owns Congress, but he does not own the sky.
Beyond the wealth.
You want me to bribe senators?
I don't want them bribed, Jack. I want them bought.
Something drove him.
You have called me a liar and a thief.
Beyond the legend.
Federal warrant. They're touching things.
Is the truth behind the man.
I'll get a doctor. No one sees him like this.
Sometimes I truly fear that I'm losing my mind.
A Martin Scorsese picture. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Blanchett, Kate Beckinsale, Alec Baldwin.
She'll go faster.
The Aviator. Rated PG-13. Everywhere Friday, December 17th.
Positions continue to shuffle as we're live at Talladega for IROC competition. Jeff Gordon has moved to the front of the field, now with 7 laps out of 38 completed in IROC 23, race number 2. And the caution flag is out. At the bottom of your screen, you see a car slowly going into the garage area. That is Dale Earnhardt Jr., and a huge puff of smoke is put in there.
Yeah, well, I think you're having a bad year, or it's not a good sign when you blow up an IROC car, because these things are just about bulletproof. They're not. They just don't make that kind of power, so they shouldn't really have a problem.
There's a replay. Earnhardt Jr. is in the red car on the bottom of the racetrack, and all of a sudden we see that telltale sign of smoke, and luckily the other car is able to go by.
Yeah, they just kind of split him. I guess they saw that smoke like we did.
He makes a stop down here in the pit area. They'll go to work on the car to see what happened. These caution laps do not count. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has climbed out of the red IROC car. Jay Signori and the IROC crew now looking underneath the hood. Little Lee looked like it just came apart on you out there.
Yeah, I don't know really what happened. It's quite surprising. These IROC cars are usually very well prepared. I'm sure it was nothing that they could have found ahead of time or figured out that it was going to happen. It's just one of them things, one of them freak things. The motor goes, and it's rare that happens in IROC.
We asked you about Daytona earlier, but the frustration down there, you only ran 8 laps. What did you learn from Daytona to coming back here for the second IROC start?
I was just trying to be a lot more patient and just let those guys race how they wanted to race, and maybe try to, be there at the end, let them race themselves out. And we just kind of riding around back there, playing with the draft, trying to learn something, because I don't have a lot of restrictor plate experience, so I was trying to help myself probably too for today's Busch race. So, but we're pretty happy, and I'm just honored to be in the series, really. It's just a pleasure to be in the series, and it's a shame we're having such tough luck.
All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the first to climb out. When you're having a year with no good luck, it just continues. So he has yet to win in Busch competition, and now has fallen out of both IROC starts.
In Busch competition in 1999, 2 top 5s, but his best finish has been a 2nd place.
Yeah, like a sophomore jinx, I guess, huh? I've heard that before, and I guess it's being played out.
Looks like it's true for him.
It's true, yes.
Darrell Waltrip says the term bump drafting is scary, and it would be to me. We've got a perfect example of what bump drafting is, as Dale Earnhardt came up on Mark Martin.
Oh, boy. I mean, that right. Folks, that'll take your breath. Now, that doesn't look like a hard hit, but you're running 180 miles an hour down through there, and somebody knocks the fire out of you. That looks easy on TV, but I'm telling you, that'll lift your wheels off the ground and make the tires spin. So it gets your attention. Good news is it'll make you go faster if you don't wreck.
Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race. Greg Moore from the Kart FedEx Championship Series running in 2nd position now as the caution flag is out because of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. problem. There are the standings at the end of 7 laps. Back in just a moment. These laps don't count, right?
He's a king just like Elvis.
A look back at a racing legend.
When I had my neck broke, I shouldn't have been driving. I've driven with broke ribs. I've driven with broke feet.
Meet Richard Petty, the king of NASCAR. 60 Minutes on Classic, 8 p.m. Tuesday on ESPN Classic.
They called him a rebel.
Ain't nobody better than me.
They called him the Intimidator. They called him a legend.
Mr. Dale Earnhardt.
3 premieres Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
We're under caution here in IROC 23, race number 2 at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the first victim of this second race with a huge puff of smoke from the car as he was running near the back of the field, but had been running well in the first 7 laps of the race, but it's all over for him. Jerry Punch has the story from pit road.
Bob, examination of the car shows a huge hole in the right side of the engine block in the car that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was driving. I might add, it's been a long time since they've had any kind of engine problems at all in this series. In fact, it's been 5 years since they've had an engine failure in an IROC car.
Well, we have more coverage from Talladega coming up at 3:30 Eastern Time this afternoon. Tune over to ABC for live coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series. Touchstone Energy 300, our happy hour coverage, will be on the Deuce at 6 o'clock tonight, and then RPM tonight at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow at noon, RPM Today. NASCAR Today's at 12:30, and the Die Hard 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race is live at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on ABC Sports.
You know, a couple things come to mind about that blown engine, but all these cars are equally prepared. They all got the same engine builder, all got the same engine, so I'd be a little concerned if I was Jay Signori and those guys about maybe having a problem with things that they, again, they're humanly built, they're humanly prepared. One fails, that doesn't mean they're all going to, but I'd be a little concerned right now.
The hole in the block sounds like a piston came apart, connecting rod broke.
Broke a rod, yeah.
And you see in the IROC rules now on a restart, they do line the cars up 2 by 2 rather than a single file start.
Makes it a little more exciting.
Yeah, a little more exciting.
A little more exciting for the fans. Might not be a bad thing to do all the time.
On board with Rusty Wallace as he gets set to go. Up front, it is Jeff Gordon in the dark blue car on the inside, and Greg Moore on the outside in the rose-colored car as we get set to go back to racing once again. Dale Jarrett lined up in 3rd position. Eddie Cheever in that lime green car is 4th. Then Wallace, Earnhardt, Martin, Burton, Breck, Labonte, Fernandez, and here we go with the restart.
Saw Moore and Cheever fall back on the start of the race, but they're right back in front again. So I think that says a lot for how equal the cars are and how well they can pull back up in the draft.
Bobby Labonte tried to make it 3 wide, tried to get her on the outside. That's a dark blue car in the back. But meanwhile, the light blue car, Mark Martin, dives to the inside, makes it 3 wide.
And they shuffle positions down the backstretch. Gordon does hang on to the lead, but coming quickly on that inside lane is Jeff Burton. Make that Dale Jarrett in 2nd position. Jeff is in the yellow car. Burton is in the cream-colored car at the back of the field.
Looked like Dale Jarrett in that yellow car is an awful strong car. That time he just moved to the outside, Darrell, and went right by Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and he's done that a couple of times. I think you're right. That yellow car is definitely fast. And, of course, when you get that light blue one with Martin behind him, that's a good trio or a combination there.
Lined up 2 by 2 once again, but Jarrett now begins to move away slightly from everybody else as behind him he's got Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon racing side by side. Wallace and Breck also side by side, and down the backstretch once again they fan out 3 wide.
Jeff Gordon looks back at Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon on the inside of the racetrack, cars beside him, and meanwhile cars all around the racetrack side by side.
You know, the IndyCar IRL guys, I mean, they got to be sitting there thinking, how do they do that? How can they make those moves like that?
Jarrett continues to hang on to the lead. This is his 4th season in IROC. His best finish in outdoor competition, 3rd at Daytona, Michigan, and here at Talladega.
You know, he's sitting in the catbird seat. He's right in front. He can kind of move from one side to the other and suck one line up a little and move over and suck the other line up a little and stay in front.
Meanwhile, we got Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Burton, a couple of Winston guys trying to fight it out for that last spot. There's Eddie Cheever now in the lime car running in last. Jeff Burton's the green car on the inside, back in 10th spot. And we've already found it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference where you are because in a couple of laps it'll be to the front.
Yeah, we saw that, you know, with Cheever and Moore there earlier. Ooh, that was, man, they were down on the apron, 3 wide. Burton and kind of took Fernandez on there for a lap, for about 2 feet.
Jarrett, Martin, and Kenny Breck running 1, 2, and 3.
You know, it's funny about this track, man. The tri-oval is absolutely the most treacherous place on this racetrack. These guys get really, really mix it up through the tri-oval.
Well, the tri-oval is only banked about 18 degrees, where the turns are banked 33 degrees. Meanwhile, Jeff Burton said was running last a minute ago. He isn't anymore. He's worked his way back to the front. Right now, he's worked his way to about 5th spot. The cream car in the middle of the racetrack.
They have built painted a yellow line down there in the tri-oval that you see there on the left, and that is to give the drivers a better indication of where the banking of the tri-oval stops and the flat part begins. But it is a treacherous area of the racetrack. Dale Jarrett continuing to lead here. Mark Martin second, then Kenny Breck. Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace are the top 5. As we see Jeff Burton still trying to work his way to the front of the field after starting from the pole. 11 of 38 laps completed at Talladega.
ESPN original movie is coming.
Ain't nobody better than me.
But until then, a marathon of the best of Dale Earnhardt roars into your living room. 3 Days of Dale continues all day today, only on ESPN Classic.
It all just seems like a dream. I can't stand it when we're apart. We need to spend more time together. We're more than the sum of our parts. I never knew I could feel this way. It's like we were made for each other.
I'm glad you like it.
The Cayenne. Porsche. There is no substitute.
No enemy has ever withstood our might.
I need a weapon.
Rated M for mature.
Shave your beard, not your face. Introducing the new Norelco Cool Skin Shaver. Close as a blade with less irritation.
Do you believe someone is right for everyone? At Match.com, we don't just believe it, we know it.
Come and get your love.
Maybe that's why hundreds of thousands of men and women met their special someone here last year alone.
Come and get your love.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Darrell Waltrip, and Jerry Punch return to Talladega Superspeedway with live coverage of IROC 23, race number 2. Pretty much the same order as when we left, that they've gotten back into single file formation and kind of stayed there for the last few laps. That's Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Burton, and Adrian Fernandez now running 6th from the CART FedEx Championship Series. Those 6 cars are right together, and then a bit of a battle behind that.
Yeah, those 6 are really working hard to get away from everybody else and doing a real good job of it. To Earnhardt and the rest of that crowd, they better do something here pretty quick or they're going to get left behind.
On board with Rusty Wallace looking back on Jeff Burton, who started first, dropped to the back, and is now right up there in contention again in 5th.
Oh, he's probably been to the back and front 2 or 3 times now. After all, we've completed 14 laps now.
Yeah, well, the thing that what I saw taking shape here is when Jarrett's got a fast car, and then so does Mark, and then Gordon's right there. When they got hooked up, they really started to put distance between these back markers here.
And with those first 6 cars running in line, we had some side-by-side battling behind them, and that essentially has taken some cars out of the draft, including Dale Earnhardt, who now runs back in the 7th position, but there's quite a bit of racetrack between Fernandez and Earnhardt.
This is when you get in your comfort zone. You say, okay, the racing's over for a little while. Now we play poker. We'll sit here for a while and see who's got the best hand and who's going to hold and who's going to fold.
But it's high-stakes poker because the speeds are in excess of 183 miles an hour. Last lap, the fastest car was Mark Martin at 183.652.
Now, you figure that out. He's behind Dale Jarrett. So what's he doing? Pushing him, right? He has to be. Dale and Kenny Brack are closing that gap a little bit. Looks to me like.
We'll check it that time by. They were 2 seconds, 2.06 seconds behind the leader. We'll check it next time and see if, in fact, they're gaining.
Dale Jarrett continues to lead the IROC race here at Talladega. Jerry has more on the run by Kenny Brack, who is right now in 8th position behind Dale Earnhardt.
Guys, the IROC drivers were told they could come in on Thursday and begin practice, but Kenny Brack actually came in on Tuesday to practice drafting with the IROC test drivers, Dave Marcus and some of the others. He wanted to know what to do in case he lost the lead draft, needed to get with another car and catch him. Ironically, that's exactly what he's doing right now with Dale Earnhardt.
Kenny Brack, the defending Pep Boys Indy Racing League champion, will soon begin his quest for the Indy 500 championship in 1999. Completing lap number 17.
You know, big difference between learning how to draft and actually drafting, because you get 2 or 3 guys out there, it works all right, but you get 12 of them out there and it might not work out the way you thought it was going to.
That time Dale Earnhardt was 2.01 seconds behind. So Darrell, they are getting a little bit closer, and the closer they get, the faster they'll gain.
Sure. And then you see the other cars behind them. If they can all get together, they'll chase that front group back down. So they're not out of it yet.
If you're just joining us, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is already out of the race with engine failure. Dad is right now running in the 7th position. There he is in the orange car, followed closely by Kenny Brack. Let's take a look now at speeds at the line as they come down here, with Jarrett setting the pace. So we'll see if he is the fastest as they cross the line. Well, not by any means.
I guess Dale Earnhardt and those guys back there. You see Dale Earnhardt, I think he is, Kenny Brack was the quickest and Dale Earnhardt the second, because they're gaining. That time they're 1.92 seconds behind. So that time they gained about 0.05 a second once again.
Well, if I was quick on my feet or quick on my brain, I tell you, if they got 20 laps, I don't know if they can catch them or not. But the neat thing is, they might slip up on them. You know, you get these 6 guys in front racing each other. They think it's between them, and here comes Dale and those guys. It could be interesting at the end. I'm not counting him out.
Oh, no.
I've been around too long to count him out.
Yeah.
All right, when they come down, it'll be halfway. 19 laps completed and 19 to go. Looks like the leader at the halfway point is going to be Dale Jarrett. Mark Martin running second, followed by Gordon, then Wallace, and then Jeff Burton, the top 5, with Adrian Fernandez running in 6th position. Live coverage of IROC 23, race number 2 being led by Dale Jarrett. Back in a moment. What?
Sunday on ESPN Classic. He beat the best in the ring.
I got my turn to be the champion of the world.
But the toughest fight of his life
I got it.
was outside the ring.
I ain't nothing to you but a black, ugly fist here.
James Earl Jones.
All I got to do is to be black and die, lady.
Takes on the Great White Hope.
You look colored, but you ain't thinking colored.
Real Classics, 8 Eastern Sunday, only on ESPN Classic.
Fits, new fabrics, new styles.
This Friday through Sunday, Zales is having the biggest sale of the season, where you can save up to 50%. Plus, take up to an extra $200 off every piece of jewelry in the store. This Friday through Sunday at Zales, the Diamond Store.
When I'm on the field, I want to perform at the top of my game. When I'm off the field, I want to do the same. That's why I use Red Zone deodorant. It's the longest lasting deodorant from Old Spice, and its scent lasts longer than the other guys, so you smell great all day. Try it. If you don't like it, Old Spice will buy you a stick of something else. Hey, I don't always win, but that doesn't stop me from trying. Red Zone deodorant from Old Spice.
A huge crowd on hand here at Talladega for a big weekend of racing, including the second race of IROC 23. Just past the halfway mark now. The pace continues to be set by Jarrett, but look who has caught up to the 6th place car of Adrian Fernandez, Dale Earnhardt, and Kenny Brack.
Well, actually, they can thank Fernandez a little bit because he couldn't keep up with that front 5 there. Fell back a little. That gave Dale and them a chance to really catch him, which is going to give them a chance to catch everybody. So we're back in the hunt again, folks.
And Jeff Burton that time had lost 3 or 4 car lengths on the leaders. First 4 cars, all are still running nose to tail. It's Dale Jarrett in front in the yellow car. Mark Martin in the powder blue car. The dark blue car is Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace in the gold car.
What we got here now is I think we got these guys starting to group up. I think the back 4 is going to gang up on the front 4.
Yeah, here they go. They run in single file formation long enough. Let's shuffle the deck here and see what happens. Rusty Wallace moves to the inside to try to take second position from Mark Martin.
See, when they look back and saw those guys that caught them, and they got to go racing again. They can't sit there and be comfortable. They got to go racing again.
Oh, look how close they are out there.
Mark Martin was running in second spot. He just keeps going on back, keeps shuffling back. And meanwhile, the back group is caught up.
So now all 12 cars once again running nose to tail.
Shuffle them up, redealt them. Here we go again.
11 cars. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is out of the race. Rusty Wallace now leads Dale Jarrett off of corner number 4 and into the trioval.
Jeff Burton is in second spot right now. Dale Jarrett was in there a minute ago, but pay attention. Okay. It happens quick around here.
That's right.
In fact, he shuffled quite a few spaces back.
And the guy that was just hanging on by the hair of his chinny chin is running 4th. And that old slug looks like it might have come alive.
That, of course, is Dale Earnhardt. Oh, a little bump drafting here.
This is the leader, Rusty Wallace, we're riding along with as Jeff Burton came up and gave him a little bit of pep.
Well, see, he fell back a little bit. You know what happened, don't you? Rusty said, hey, man, don't hit me there. Cut me a little slack. In the corners is not a good place to bump with. You got to do that on the straightaway.
And we can see that Jeff Burton is giving Rusty Wallace a little room in the corner.
Now they're both catching their breath. I think he must have gotten Rusty a little out of shape over there. All right, everybody says we're back in line. We're caught back up. Let's ride a while. Let's regroup here. This thing's running about 3 segments.
Yeah, it is.
About every 10 laps, something happens.
And meanwhile, Dale Jarrett is now 11th in the running order and looks to be losing the draft in the yellow car.
Was so strong there for a few laps, but has dropped back significantly here and is trailing the other 10 cars.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It is.
Sitting out there leading the race, and now you're running last.
It's Rusty Wallace up front now, the 1991 IROC champion. He's in his 8th season of True Value IROC competition.
You know, he hasn't had a lot of success in this series. He's been in a lot of them. How many races has he won?
24, and is 5th on the all-time money winning list. But that is in 8 seasons of competition.
You got to give a call to Fernandez in that purple car. I guess that's what it is. 3rd place car. He is doing a great job hanging in there.
I think the official color is violet.
Oh, violet.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Well, right now they're nose to tail, but
there's a bumper. Here he goes. He's giving a little snoot there.
More bump drafting going on.
Look, it's so gentle.
Jeff Burton running right behind Rusty Wallace as Wallace has the lead here. 25 out of 38 laps are completed. The fans are loving it here at Talladega Superspeedway. Adrian Fernandez running 3rd. We'll be back with more live coverage of IROC in a moment.
This is titanium. Strong, long-lasting, durable, and only Remington brings it to you in the all-new titanium shaving system. Designed for closeness, comfort, and to clean itself automatically. Any way you slice it, it's extraordinary. Shave after shave. Remington Titanium. It could just make all other shavers obsolete. And for her, the Remington Smooth and Silky, America's #1 women's brand.
The car you've been dreaming of is the car we've been dreaming up.
One of the reasons we play so well on the road is because we have a team out.
And then what happened? John Elway drove 98 yards.
She definitely cares about what we eat.
Ooh, Miss McNabb, Miss McNabb. Al, keep driving.
Oh, come on. For away games, she loves giving us Campbell's chunky soup in microwavable bowls. She makes the road feel like home.
Let me hear
Campbell's Chunky. It fills you up right.
Less than 10 laps to go in the second race of IROC 23. They continue to run in the same order as when we left. It is still Rusty Wallace up front, and Burton is waving, and he must have a problem with the car. He's dropped down onto the apron of the racetrack, and that really causes a pileup behind him.
Almost caused a huge pileup. And Kenny Breck just comes down. I don't think he knew that Mark Martin or Adrian Fernandez was there.
I think that everybody was a little bit excited about that car just slowing down all at once. That's
now that could have been huge.
It could have been.
Well, that puts Dale Earnhardt up in the second position, and now a battle in the back of this line between Fernandez and Breck. Jerry Punch.
It is not a tire for the current Winston Cup points leader. Jeff Burton says the car just shut off coming down the backstretch. So apparently they're looking for the ignition problem. He has the window net getting ready to put it back up. They have found the wire. It looks like on the right side of the engine, part of the wiring harness may have vibrated loose. They're going to try to reconnect the harness back into the coil area, and hopefully we'll be able to get Jeff Burton back on the racetrack. What a tough break for the current Winston Cup point leader.
And a very scary situation, too. There's some bumping going on. Labonte and Martin to the inside of Jeff Gordon.
And that made contact.
Yes, they did. Did I mention that we hadn't heard much out of Bobby Labonte today?
Yes,
he's now up in the third position as Rusty Wallace continues to lead. Wallace has recorded a victory here at Talladega. It came in his IROC championship year of 1991.
With that said, do you remember who pushed Dale Earnhardt by Mark Martin at Daytona?
Bobby Labonte.
Bobby Labonte.
Yes.
So they're right there again, and Rusty Wallace was the victim today.
Jeff Burton's car, cream car is fixed, is repaired. He's going back on the racetrack, just simply trying to make as many laps as possible in case another car has trouble. Because after all, they're racing for points.
And I got to tell you, that's an incredible job on the other driver's parts. That car just quit running right up in the middle of the pack, and nobody hit him. And I mean, there was a lot of evasive action, but nobody run into him. That tells you how quick these guys react.
They're up to 184 miles an hour now for speed. Fastest lap last time was turned by the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace, at 184.6.
Yeah, how do you think Dale Jarrett explains to the IROC people when the race is over with? He was leading the race, and at the end of the race here, he's going to be he's about to get lapped. How do you explain that? Well, you had a bad car? I guess.
Something was amiss. There's no doubt about that.
Must have been.
But right now, these guys talk about playing cards, and they're checking their whole car, about 3 or 4 times a lap?
Yep. Getting down to it, buddy. We've got, there'll be 32 this time by. 6 to go.
Wallace continues to lead. We're on board with Jeff Gordon, who is back in 6th position. Just ahead of him is Adrian Fernandez.
The gold car is Rusty Wallace. I don't think right now that anybody can pull out and pass. I think they have to wait for someone else to pull out and then go with them.
See, that's what happens. You know, they talk about drafting partners, all that stuff. You make a move here and hope the guys behind you think that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's when you get a drafting partner. Ooh, that's a good move. I'll go with you.
But if they think it's a bad move,
they'll go with the other guy, and then you're left hung out to dry.
Exactly. And right now, Dale Earnhardt, I think he just waited for that last lap.
I think he's fallen back one time, and he ain't going to let that happen again. That dog ain't going to bite him.
In second spot on the last lap of the race at Daytona and pulled off a active pass on Mark Martin and won in round 1 of IROC 23. Let's see what happens here in the closing stages of the second race. 33 laps completed. We've got 5 to go.
Tell you one thing, Rusty Wallace will not roll over. I mean, I don't know if he may roll over. He has here before, but I mean, he's not going to be easy to pass.
No, that's for sure.
Bobby Labonte running back there in 3rd. Mark Martin is 4th. Fernandez 5th. Gordon, Breck, Cheever, and Moore are the top 9. Jarrett's out of the draft. Burton's down a lap, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is out of the race.
This is kind of looks like a normal Winston Cup race. Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt right behind him. Bobby Labonte's back there. Mark Martin's back there.
See, a little heat race, a little warm-up for tomorrow.
A little warm-up, exactly. Go by, complete another lap. 4 laps to go.
And you know the thing about Talladega, as everybody knows, the start-finish line is way down here, close to the first turn.
Now look at Earnhardt. He took a look to the inside of Wallace coming off the corner, but drops back behind him. Well, it looked like he may have had ideas.
I can tell you one thing, Dale Earnhardt has had one hand in the air quite a bit these last few laps, directing the guys behind him. He's real notorious for that. If you try to pass him right now, he'd probably shake his fist at you. That would not be good.
Now's not the time to pass.
No, sir.
On board with Dale Earnhardt.
So Jeff Burton back on the racetrack, just move over, let all these cars go by, racing for position.
3 to go.
Ever so gently, easing on that wheel, not fighting with that car, just being as smooth as you possibly can. And if you see the big tachometer there in the middle of the dash, never moves, stays right on, what does that look like, maybe 7,000, that never moves. Listen to that engine, it stays the same all the way around the racetrack. Sweet little sound, isn't it? It is. Humming along. We're going to give bump drafting a whole new meaning here in just a little bit more time, a couple more laps.
2 more.
The fans are on their feet. They're anticipating something going to happen here.
They're on their feet because they know something is going to happen. They don't know what. And we don't know what, but something is going to happen.
They will not finish nose to tail as they are running right now. Somebody's going to make a move, and somebody is going to go with him.
What I liked about this place here, this joint, is that the line is way down here toward the first turn. You don't have it won like you do at Daytona when you get under somebody off of turn 4. You got to earn it here, buddy. And they'll be 4 wide coming to the line.
All right, they're in the banking between turns 3 and 4.
I don't know about you, Benny, but my hands are sweating.
Yes.
Okay, they're going to get a white. Here we go. 1 more lap to go as they come down.
All right, everybody.
And here we go. The shuffle is happening. Lap to go. White flag out. Let's see what happens.
Gordon wanted to get by Fernandez because he doesn't know what to do.
Mark Martin takes over the 3rd spot.
Here comes Mark. We know he knows what to do. Right now, what I think Jeff Gordon's trying to get himself in the position to be with the Winston Cup drivers. That's what he's trying to do.
Well, Kenny Breck is on his back bumper trying to come along with him. Boy, they snake down the backstretch with everybody trying to protect his position.
Didn't even give a signal. I mean, just turned dead left.
Wallace still has the lead. Earnhardt is right on his back bumper, and Mark Martin is 3rd. Let's see what happens as they come off the banking onto the tri-oval. Who's it going to be?
It ain't over, folks, till they get way down here.
Here comes Earnhardt on the outside. They come to the line, and they're side by side. He's right up high on the track. He's got it. Earnhardt wins it.
I am telling you. You have to admit, that was a masterful job.
2nd win of the year for Earnhardt.
How you explain that, Benny? How you explain it?
I have no words for you, DW.
Started last, and once again on the last lap makes the pass and pulls it off.
Man, oh man. He knows something about this draft.
I'm telling you the truth.
Dale Earnhardt wins the True Value IROC Race 2 of IROC 23 at Talladega.
Right after 3 premieres on ESPN, turn to ESPN Classic and call in live. Join Buddy Baker and NASCAR experts to talk about the movie and the legend of Dale. Classic Live, the Earnhardt movie, Saturday only on ESPN Classic.
He's a king just like Elvis.
A look back at a racing legend.
When I had my neck broke, I shouldn't have been driving. I've driven with broke ribs. I've driven with broke feet.
Meet Richard Petty, the king of NASCAR. 60 Minutes on Classic, 8 p.m. Tuesday on ESPN Classic.
Hey, here's Bob, the host with the most, you might say. And here's his buddy, Tom. Looks like Tom could use a little help. So Bob did the buddy thing and told Tom to call and order Enzyte, the effective, reliable way to natural male enhancement. Well, Tom got his Enzyte, and look at him now. Yes, in just a few short weeks, he's stepping large and laughing easy. Free samples of Enzyte now available while supplies last. Just call or visit foodenzyte.com. Enzyte, the once-a-day tablet for natural male enhancement. This is Bob. Bob is playing well. That's because not long ago, Bob decided to go big time. New clothes, new clubs, and a call to Enzyte, the effective, reliable way to natural male enhancement. And in just a few short weeks, Bob has a big new swing of confidence, a little well-earned respect, and a very happy partner back at the clubhouse. Free samples of Enzyte now available while supplies last. Just call or visit foodenzyte.com. Enzyte, the once-a-day tablet for natural male enhancement.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway, and what an IROC race we saw here this afternoon. Dale Earnhardt in second position for the last few laps, but he wasn't about to finish there.
No, you watch this. Now, at Daytona, he come off turn 4. He gave Mark Martin a little bump in the rear and got Mark up out of the way and went by on the inside. Here, you're going to see he comes up on Rusty. I believe right along in here, he gave him a little shot. See him wiggle, just a little wiggle. That took a little speed. He goes to the outside here and makes the pass. I think that little bump.
I think when Rusty felt that bump, he went to the inside to protect the inside, and Earnhardt just, for some reason, drove to the outside.
I think what happens, he wiggled the car a little bit, and Rusty was uncertain which way he was going to go. Dale went the right way.
To Jerry Punch in victory lane.
And this crowd estimated that over 90,000 were on their feet that last lap for the second time this year. You made the pass in turn 4. What a run.
Well, you know, true value, and everybody works awful hard with Jay and all the guys on these cars. They got great race cars. Number one had to be a number one position at the end, didn't it? That's the number on the car, so that's what we tried to do. But it was a great race. I just kept working. One time I thought I was going to lose the draft totally, but as we moved on up front and kept working, and then Burton's ignition went out or something, and it gave me the chance to be behind Rusty, and I didn't really think I had a chance to pass him. And there at the end, when Mark come running at me, I had to try to run at Rusty. I went low, Rusty went low, I went high, and I knew Mark was going to go low, but I had to try to win. I got on the outside of Rusty and drafted by him, and so I just used the air to my advantage that last 100, 200 yards.
It looked like the classic pass at Daytona. A little bit of bump drafting there on that final lap.
Well, we didn't touch bumpers. It was close, but the guys worked awful hard all day, everybody in the draft, and it wasn't anybody's race until they're at the end. And Mark, he's awful strong every race, and he was in position every lap, you know. That's what I was trying to be, and that's what he's trying to be, is in position to win, and we were lucky to be there.
Well, the 7-time Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt goes to victory lane in round 2 of IROC 23.
And it's his 9th win in IROC competition, moving him into second place
Mark was on my tail,
on the all-time win list.
Good job, buddy.
And it's his 3rd victory here at Talladega in IROC competition. He won in 1990, 95, and in 1999. We'll wrap it up in just a moment. Two races in the True Value International Race of Champions Series in 1999 have been held, and that man, Dale Earnhardt, has won both of them. He won at Daytona, and here today at Talladega, another last lap pass, and he wins again. The 3rd race in the series is June 12th at Michigan Speedway. We'll be there at 3 o'clock Eastern, and the final race in the series will be on ABC August the 7th at 4:30 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jerry?
Rusty Wallace, we've seen a number of those classic Earnhardt-Wallace finishes over the years, and another one today.
Yeah, it was a good race for us today. You know, I was waiting for him. About 5 or 10 laps, I kept saying, guard the bottom, and I was doing that. And then I saw Mark make a move on him. Dale went high, Mark went low, and I said, oh, man, I got 2 guys got to guard off now. And then it was just a classic race off of turn 4, and he got me on the outside, and all I had to do then is guard off and try to get second. It turned out real good. Had a great car today. IROC did a wonderful job, and the tires were good.
I was doing all I could do to keep him in front, and they kept racing behind me, and me and Rusty kept working together. And there at the end, I was just going to race Rusty. Mark got to pushing in there. I couldn't help my buddy. I had to go.
All right, a classic Talladega finish, IROC style, Bob.
Oh, boy, that was a great race. Dale Earnhardt wins here at Talladega. Shop Talk coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. So long, everyone.